those zombies.
That you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question.
Already from Jump Street, I can see how this is going to be. Let's understand something. Women cannot raise boys to be men at all. And the ones who think that they can are absolutely the reasons why our sons right now, the ones who were born without the right fathers in position, are out here going to grab guns. And that literally is a color spectrum that spreads from each damn pigment. The boys who grow up without the men that they need in their lives go and do violent things. They act out in emotions because we understand women are more emotional than men. So how in the hell you raise your voice to even say this is amazing. The disrespect from Jump Street is what people should have picked up on. But you know what it is? It's her lack of respect for men that is going to ultimately be her undoing. Because women like this believe that they can do it on themselves, do it by themselves, because they have been convinced that men are beneath them. Let's not candy coat anything about this. This woman believes that men are beneath her. I don't care, and it's the best part about her is she didn't just stick to quote-unquote black men. And this is not a all-black channel or anything like that. Everybody is welcome here. But I need y'all to get that part down before we go any further.
But I do want you to speak, Ayanla, to how women need to, position ourselves.
You mean level up. Let's tell the truth. You're talking about how women can level up. Come on now. Tell the truth. It don't hurt so bad. Let's get to it.
So that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build.
She's a lawyer, so she's very concise and precise with her words. She said create and not build. Well, let's go run to the dictionary real quick to understand what create means and what build means. Hold on.
Here's the definition of create: bring something into existence. Here's the definition of build: construct something by putting parts or material together.
That's that manifestation bullshit that they try to sell y'all. Listener, you know how unfair of a deal that is. She said create, which means basically you get to speak it, opposed to build, which means that you have to absolutely put your elbow grease into it. Fellas, run for the hills. Wolves, save America, wolf. It's crazy. Listen to what she said. She said she wants to create and not build, which means what she did with her ex. She tried to build off of that type of reputation that he had for himself so she could create her own type of lifestyle. This is how they operate. Listen to the code words that they use. This is when Kevin Samuel said, execute order 66426, if that's even what it was called. These are the words to trigger these women to get an unfair deal. Let's go.
When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us.
You feel, not that you know. Let's understand something. She feels, not that she knows. You want to know why? Because the men that she wants do not want her. This right here is a public outcry / public shame / public guilt in the eyes of the dummies and the minds of the zombies. This is why I said we had to get rid of them zombies for women just like this, who get on platforms that are built off of the BS that they sell to women. Shout out to them, because somebody got to sell something to somebody. It don't matter as long as you got a buyer. I'm just a person who's in review of the product in which they have. She is sitting up here trying to guilt or shame, probably both in the same damn sentence, those men that refuse her. She said, feel. which means in her mind, she hasn't hit the checklist of what it is they want. Look at how immensely selfish this sounds. And yes, you should be selfish about things you want, but you should also understand what is required of you. You can't say, I want to go out and play a sport and score as many points as I can without understanding the sacrifice.
I said, I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum. Trust me, I've done them all.
See? She done them all. That's a double entendre. She basically left that for two ways in which she could say it, two different meanings. You've done them all. So you had 304 behaviors. So which means you got passed around and men started leaving notes about you. You said across the age spectrum and everything like that. So when you got amongst the people who were in position, you understood you didn't qualify. So you jump what we would call skin tone, which once again, I'm never going to be one of those channels be like, this group only date this group date all that group. If that's your choice, that's your choice. If you only want to date a specific group of women because they pigment, all right, cool. I ain't going to hold you. I ain't going to get mad at you, anything like that. If you want to date all the colors of the rainbows, do your thing. And I don't care what color you are. But you see how she tried to just basically say, see, I went to the rigors and it's the men. No, baby, it is you.
They are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources. And some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
What are you talking about? They don't have an income. Ma'am, men have increased already from that 10% to 13 to 17%, depending on if you want to go with small business or you want to go with the Census Bureau. There's only 8% of women who earn six figures and up. So there's more men. If you want to believe the 17%, there's double. So what are you talking about? What stats are you talking about? That's a lie. Then you said the resources. You mean stuff that you can come and take without putting in any work? You mean that type of stuff? You're talking about stuff for you just to come and take. Hence why she said create and not build. So she could just manifest and say it out of her damn lips. Then she talked about the men in leadership. Based off of what you're seeing from this woman, her tone, her acerbic meaning to everything. Bruh, do y'all believe that she would allow a man to lead her? And the man who has to lead her has to check with his wallet in order to do certain things any damn ways. If you trust a woman like this, I have a pit of snakes to sell you. And I can tell you they're more trustworthy than this woman right here. With no disrespect to her, but what she is putting out there is bullshit. But it's stuff like this where women like her get to say stuff and nobody checks her. Where are your numbers coming from? What are you saying? What has there ever been a man that you've been around that you allowed to lead you? Should probably say her father or something like that. And then what resources are you talking about? And what should he be doing with his resources? They can't tell you that because they want it from themselves. This is war.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus?
Let's understand something about this real quick. Basically, he's in the transportation industry. That's basically trucking. A lot of bus drivers have CDLs, so they can be truck drivers. So I want her to understand how dumb that sounds when she says if he owns the bus. Let me basically give y'all this simple thing. Who is more valuable? The worker with a skill that is a professional skill or the company? Because I want y'all to take a look at this, because I don't think women like Ebony have ever studied anything that relates to transportation. So allow me to glide real quick. Tour driver's salary ranges from $26,000 to $65,000 per year. Party bus driver salary range from $36,000 to $53,000 per year. Coach operator salary range from $35,000 to $51,000 per year. Motor coach operator salary range $36,500 to $50,000 per year. But remember, I said they're part of the transportation industry. So let's take a look at trucking for the woman who wants to be an owner, because you'd have to get a government contract in order for you to really run it up as far as owning the buses. But let me take this goofy ass lady somewhere she never been. It's called reality.
According to Transport Topics, a total of 3,140 trucking companies ceased operations last year, according to a report from transportation industry data firm Broughton Capital, up from 1,100 in 2019.
Typically, around 85 to 90% of startup trucking companies fail. It's not always easy to run a company, but it's especially difficult in the competitive transportation industry. And to further my point, watch this one right here. Here are the largest trucking companies that filed for bankruptcy in 2022. Marvin Keller Trucking, 115 drivers. Let's keep on going down. That was $10 million that they were worth. Landair, 135 drivers. Vermont-based less-than truckload carrier closed unexpectedly in July. They filed a Chapter 7. Not a Chapter 11. A Chapter 11 will allow you to basically go through certain things and say you can't pay this, can't pay that. Chapter 7 means you ain't got it at all. UFI Transportation, 213 drivers. Let's keep on going. Matheson Postal Services, 383 drivers. Let's go on. Now, high risk, high rewards. I understand that part. But understanding that stability leads to all of that stuff that she was talking about earlier. So I'm trying to understand, are you doing this because you care about yourself only? Or are you doing this to create shockwaves? Because it cannot be for the women at all. It can't be for the women. Because if it was about the women, you wouldn't have said nothing as dumb as you did. But you know what? Let's go further.
If he owns
No.
it, if he owns the bus,
See,
he
that's
owns
a
it.
problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
Of course you would, because, I mean, it's called mental health. I think Ebony needs to do this, right? Run a large company. Run a large company where the majority of the masses are men. And then I want you to understand something. Men understand way better than women want to give them credit for. We don't want to be the managers for the most part, because you have to deal with a multiple pronged attack. You have to deal with the attitudes of people. You have to deal with people who believe they should be getting paid more than what they are worth. You ever notice something about men? They're simple. She said as long as he loves what he's doing, which means he's not going to come home and complain. When you got those high stress jobs and stuff like that, the world seems smaller and the fight seems bigger. But you see, Ebony cares about status. She cares about public perception. And I think it's kind of sad, because you're almost 40, thinking like a goddamn child. You want to be with the glitz and glams instead of making sure that you have something solid to build from. But you don't do building. You try to create because you want the resources. And that's the thing. What she basically is doing is setting herself up for the bad deal. What a moron to believe such a thought. And I'm going to tell you something right now, woman. Since you so up there and everything like that, I want you to understand something. Men always date down. Always. We whoop y'all as far as the money goes. Y'all don't care about that though. So y'all try to switch the table and operate from a different worldview. Except we decided finally in the last couple of years, we gonna switch that table back and start fighting back. And you know what? The women don't like it. Especially women like her. Let's continue on.
So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse.
No. The ascension, let me tell you something. Only men gonna lead men. Only men are going to lead men. Not no woman. I don't give a damn how that sound. So we ain't even about to listen to you like that. That's out. And yeah, that was some gold digger mentality type stuff. Sorry, not sorry. And if you want to just blame all black women, then go ahead and do it. That's cool. But when y'all think like this and y'all think men are going to shut up, they're no longer going to shut up anymore. Like the song, We're Not Going to Take It. So no, do y'all realize that having a stable income is way better than going for it all and then missing while you're trying to start a family? Do y'all realize our families are no longer? Once the baby boomer society falls out, y'all gonna stop getting married as a whole damn near. It's gonna jump from 1 to 4 to about 1 to 6. Come on now. Stop BSing yourself, because you BSing the whole world right now.
Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best.
Oh, Ebony, you had days to come up with a response, and you failed. Let me tell you something. See that right there? Schools are more designed for girls than boys. That has always been the case. Boys learn differently than girls. We're biologically different. I don't think you understand that part. So, please, let's continue on.
Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men.
The lies you tell, but if it make you feel better, go ahead and tell the lie.
So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations.
Because they just give out those licenses to anybody. Let me tell you something real quick, Ebony. I need you to understand this part. You have to learn the tractor trailer part of everything. And then you get a passenger endorsement. So you are required to learn 3 things. But either way that go. Ladies, I want y'all to understand something. The men that y'all want, they're not going to be at home like that. The bus driver comes home every single day and on the weekends. So now you have an active father. But you know what? Since y'all don't give a damn about the fathers, and that is more apparent and obvious as the day goes on, go ahead and try to go for the men like me. We don't got time like that.
Black men are now going to HBCUs and college and generally at half the rate of black girls and women. I don't think that's okay.
Ebony, listen, trade school is better. I know you look down on blue collar workers and stuff like that. I get it. You want the glitz and the glams and all that. You were the loudest person in that room. You had the most testosterone in that room. You were not in your femininity. So you can lay down your points way better, but you didn't. So let me go ahead and hit you with something real quick. Let me throw this out there for you. You just shitted on black men, but they make more money than black women for all your fucking education. Watch this.
According to Equitable Growth, black men, $828 weekly, $43,000 annually. White women, $929 weekly, $48,300 annually. Black women, $779 weekly, $40,500 annually. According to APLU, among those who do borrow, the average debt at graduation is $25,921, or $6,480 for each year of a 4-year degree at a public university.
So your education doesn't earn you more money. Sorry, Ebony. So what are you talking about? What you want us to do is to go to these colleges, these liberal colleges, these snowflake ass safe zone colleges, and get indoctrinated so that we agree with plights that we got to see firsthand that we don't share the exact same experience. See, it's very possible to watch a movie or watch anything or read something or see anything and not get the same damn thing as far as our descriptions of said thing. Ebony, I need you to shut up a little bit, just a little bit, but I want you to make sure that when you respond to this, expect the backlash. Thoroughly expect the backlash. You know why? Because you caused it. You jumped on a hill that had a drum that had been beaten for decades about black men. The problem is black men are educated in what's important. And what's important for us nowadays, because you don't throw out the stat that talks about black men in particular being active fathers, because you know what? That doesn't fit your illustration that you're painting. And once again, I look at you and I see sadness. I see a woman who is beyond the goddamn danger zone. Almost 40-year-old woman talking about stuff like that, when really you should be shutting up. And I wish I could show more of this interview, but I can't due to copyright reasons, so that's why I won't do it. But Shouty, I need you to understand this part and this part in particular. What the women need is a man in the household. We had to start from the ground up and start building from there. Because once it is shown that men being in the household and leading their families actually help, because we do a lot with homework and all this stuff and everything like that. Yeah, once you see that type of stuff, then you start realizing scholarships and all this stuff. But maybe you don't give a damn about that. And ultimately, you hate black men. You love black women, but you let an adulation of it all. That's why you're sitting up there yelling like a man to say you stood amongst the men like a man, woman.